Thank you guys for coming. We appreciate any coverage that Norfolk State gets, and I'd also like to just send out our thoughts and prayers to the people down in Florida and everybody else along the East Coast and everywhere else who's been affected by the flooding. It's a tough time in America for those people, so we definitely want them to know that they're in our thoughts. But obviously, it's another big ball game for us this weekend. We get the opportunity to play a great football team, the number one ranked team in the country, the defending national champions. We get to go to Harrisonburg and play in an electric atmosphere. It gives us another opportunity to measure ourselves prior to going into conference play. I thought we played a little bit better than we did the week before. This past week versus William & Mary, we were able to rush the ball for over 100 yards for the first time in a while. And the positive to that was it was running back-driven yardage, not so much quarterback-driven yardage as it has been in the past. And I thought we played much better defensively. We cut loose, 2 touchdowns in man coverage. But at the end of the day, there's a maturation process involved with this. So we've looked at James Madison all week long, and they still look as good as they did on Sunday today. So we'll try to do the best that we can do to go and finish putting our game plan together so that we can go to Harrisonburg and be competitive on Saturday.
Coach, after 2 games, how would you gauge that kind of the temperature of the locker room right now?
Our guys are even keeled. They're a lot like us as a staff in the fact that we don't panic and we don't pay attention to outside noise. Obviously, we know that there are things that we have to do better, from a coaching staff standpoint, from a player standpoint. But at the end of the day, we're, not where we want to be, but at the end of the day, we're progressing. Everything that we did poorly a week ago, we improved on. We improved on offense, we improved on defense, we definitely improved on special teams. The thing that we have to do is get going offensively. We don't have an offensive touchdown to this point, so we've got to be able to put the ball in the end zone when we have the opportunity to.
Kyle, what's the talk amongst the players after 2 games so far?
We gotta keep working. It's kind of just every day I come back, just give a little bit more. You can't get complacent. You can't start thinking negative, because it's real easy to think negatively throwing you down, too, in the loss. So just come back every day ready to work.
Coach, are there any significant injuries after the past week? You still are full strength?
Demetrius Farabee won't play this week. He's got a sprained knee, but he won't be lost for the season. So we'll be without Demetrius. But Anthony Williams will step into that role. Ant's probably been split in half the game with Demetrius anyway. But other than that, other than just game tweaks, everybody else will be available for us.
Running with the same lineup again Thursday week, or are you making any major personnel changes?
The only personnel change we made is that we decided that we needed a little bit of help on defense, and we moved Quintrell Chung over to linebacker. Quintrell is a big physical athlete, and so you will see him at linebacker this week. We're going to get him involved and get his feet wet so that he's ready to go during conference play. We've got Kyle and Ant Smith playing very well over there right now, but I think adding an athlete like Quintrell to the mix on defense and special teams will definitely help us as the season progresses.
Has he played linebacker before?
He played linebacker in high school, and everybody in the country recruited him as a linebacker, as an athlete. But he's 6'2", he's 220 pounds, and he's a contact kid. And some of the things that he did for us last week on special teams just kind of proved to us that he could definitely help us on defense.
So was it on Monday that he took his first reps linebacker for you guys?
Sunday afternoon. Yep.
Okay. So Kyle, what have you seen from Quintrell in the couple days that he's switched over?
Yeah, he's physical. Yeah, he likes the contact. He's eager to learn. Some people kind of just shy away from the idea of, playing linebacker. Like, it's brand new, but I think he's embracing it well, and I'm working with him, so we'll be fine.
And I think it speaks a lot to Quintrell's character too. There are a lot of young men today that aren't willing to move, and he just said, "Hey, coach, if it'll help our team win football games, give me the defensive playbook." So I think that's definitely something worth mentioning.
Aaron, how would you define your role as a running back? You guys obviously use a lot of running backs. So what kind of guy do you want to be? Do you want to be the power guy, the quick guy, the balance guy? Where do you see yourself?
I try and be whatever the coaches need me to be, whether that's catching passes out of the backfield or running outside or between the tackles. I feel like as a player, you can't really limit yourself to like one aspect of the game. So whatever the coaches need me to do, I try my best to do it.
Coach, are there any significant game plan changes? Because after the game, you talk about maybe we're going to be a more passing offense. So have you started implementing those type of changes?
Well, again, you want me to tell you everything that we're going to do, and I'm not going to do it. But obviously, we're going to do what fits our strength. In talking about Aaron, I mean, Aaron's our most complete tailback. He can run, he can catch, he can protect, and you're going to see as much of him as possible. But obviously, as I said, we've got good skill guys. We've got to get involved in the football game as well. So we'll mix it up and try to stay balanced. But at the end of the day, we're playing a very very good defense. Bob Trott. I was my defensive coordinator at the University of Richmond, one of the best defensive coordinators I've ever been around. Bob and I worked together at Richmond and at Virginia, so I know who I'm up against. So I know that we'll have to be able to mix things up and throw some wrinkles at Bob to be able to try to have some success.
Just reading one of the previews for Jamie, it says they also use a lot of 4-2-5 looks defensively. So do you think that'll help with the familiarity?
At the end of the day, I know Bob's scheme, but Bob is very creative. He's very thorough. Everything that he does is based on matchups and trying to take advantages of weak spots and lesser players in an offensive scheme. So, I can tell you what his base is, and he is based out of a 4-2-5, but he has the ability to play odd fronts and anything that any defense wants to play. Bob has the ability to get it done. So, at the end of the day, we could get there, and it may be all odd defense with him next week. So, we're kind of prepared for everything.
Where are you at with Chip and Pootie?
They'll both play again. Pootie will start the game this week, but you'll see them both. I think it's been a great combination. And again, as I say, I'll stand by the fact that, for us to be successful in our conference, that we're going to have two quarterbacks. As you saw on Saturday night, Pootie got knocked out and Tripp was able to come back in, and we don't have to change our offense. So I think the ability to have both of those guys has been great for us, and for both of those guys to gain experience to this point has been beneficial to us.
Aaron, looking at some film so far this week on Jamie's defense, are you seeing anything that you'd be able to take advantage of?
I mean, like Coach Scott said, they're a good defense. Him and Coach Ferragelli are putting together a good game plan. So, I mean, like I said, it's not really so much as what I'm going to do. I mean, that's up to our offensive line and what him and Coach Ferragelli put together. So.
Kyle, Jamie also has a very balanced offense. They bring back their quarterback and won the national championship. So what are you seeing on offense that you guys are going to have to slow down?
It starts with number 17, quarterback. Yeah, he's tough. So he's got to be real disciplined, I say, this week definitely. Yeah, to the tempo, they have a really good tempo. So we have to get back to the ball, get set, and get ready to play. But all we can do is really just play.
No easy way to ask this, but I'm sure you guys know that practically nobody's expecting you to win against this team. So I'm curious, there's like two things you can kind of go down. You can go down the road of like, we want to progress and see how we do, or you can go down the road of like, we expect to win. So where are you guys at, for whoever wants to speak up?
I've never ever coached in a football game or played in a football game for that matter that I didn't expect to win. I have a great deal of respect for Coach Houston and James Madison, their players and everybody, but there's no way that I could sit here and tell you that we don't expect to win this football game. At the end of the day, we want to get better and do things, better than we did the week before. But I don't spend the hours that I spend, and my team doesn't spend the hours that they spend preparing to go anywhere to lose a football game.
Kyle, where do you see the defense right now after 2 games? How would you evaluate where you guys are at?
We could be a lot better. There's a lot of mistakes that happen. It's early in the season, so, working out the kinks. But, you're never satisfied. You always want to do more. You can always watch it. It's a good game, quote unquote, but you go back and watch the film, it's a lot of mistakes that it's going to come back and get you beat if you keep, letting those mistakes be mistakes.
Coach, what's the status of the number 1 jersey? I didn't see it last week.
The number 1 jersey is something that we're going to use, when we feel like we've played well enough that someone deserves it. I don't think, when you lose a football game, it's something that you want to do. We have game captains each week. We have special teams awards each week and all those things. But I think the number 1 jersey will be something that we'll reserve for games that we win. There are a ton of guys that played well enough to deserve the possibility of wearing the jersey. But at the end of the day, it's a team deal, and we're going to use it after team wins.
Aaron, just tell me, what is it like knowing that this is the first time Norfolk State's ever played a number 1 team? So what is that like? What's the mood around the guys that you guys are going to face, the defending champs?
I mean, obviously there's a little more excitement. Everybody wants to play against the best, but it's a big game because it's the next game, not because they're the #1 team in the country. So, I mean, we approach it with the same mindset every week. Nothing's really different.
Same question to you, Kyle.
Yeah, you're just excited. You want to play the best. That's fun. That's about it. Playing the next game. Like, how could you not be excited in general?
And Coach, just a little bit more X's and O's. What's the key to JMU's success, you think?
On which side of the ball?
Both.
Obviously, man, offensively, JMU's thrown the ball for 400 yards and they've run the ball for 400 yards. So obviously, they can do both. The thing that we have to do is try to limit them in one area. And, the thing that they've been very successful at is big plays. Ton of big plays off of scrambles and things like that versus East Tennessee. They played very, very well on special teams. They had special teams touchdowns in the return game. Obviously, they're able to run the ball for 400 against East Carolina. So it's kind of a pick your poison kind of deal. But we've got a game plan to try to slow them down. On offense and defensively, you've got to pick your spots. They're very, very talented up front. 2 good linebackers. Talent in the secondary. But we have a game plan that we're going to put together to try to exploit. Some of the things that we feel like we have the ability to exploit. I'm not going to say that there are any weaknesses because those guys are extremely talented, but we're putting together a game plan to try to exploit some of those things. And I've told my team this, we're not playing, the 25,000 people in the stands. We're not playing the national championships. We're playing the 11 guys that are on the field on offense and defense. So if we go there and we let, the legend of James Madison, scare us, then we're already behind the 8 ball. We've got to make sure that the game is focused on the guys that are actually involved in the game. We can't play the 59 points that they scored last week. We can't play the 34 points that they scored versus East Carolina. We can't play all those factors. We've got to play the game.
And last week you talked about looking up the Jimmy Laycock. Is there anything about the JMU program you think that other programs such as yourself could model themselves after?
Yeah, their finances. No. I was very fortunate enough to spend a season on Coach Matthew's staff at James Madison. First-class place, first-class administration. James Madison has become a destination for students and student-athletes in the state of Virginia, and obviously they're able to attract a ton of talent. But I think the thing that Coach Houston has done is he's been able to keep local talent and mix it with, a good mix of transfers, and they've done a tremendous job. And he's got a coaching staff that is based from the state of Virginia. He came in from North Carolina. He's got 3 coaches on his staff that I've either coached with or worked with at different places. So he's got a very Virginia-laden staff. But James Madison made a commitment to football, and they're able to support it. And I think that's why they are where we are. And here at Norfolk State, we're working with our administration on a daily basis to try to make sure that we can do the things that we need to do to reach that level.
Who are those coaches that you've worked with?
Jeff Hansen is a longtime mentor of mine. Jeff Hansen's their defensive line coach. Coach Hansen recruited me out of high school, and I worked with him at Richmond. Bob Trott, the defensive coordinator, Bob and I worked together on the same staff at UVA, and he was my defensive coordinator at Richmond. Byron Thweet is also a longtime friend of mine, and he was my linebackers coach and special teams coordinator at Richmond. So there's a lot of familiarity with the people that the Coach Houston came in and hired. So I know the type of product that he has, but at the end of the day, I'm very happy with our staff. Very happy with our staff and the people that we have, and I appreciate the progress of our program. Some others may not, but I know that our coaches work their tails off and our kids work their tails off, and we'll see the benefits very soon.